The engines of crypto run at high RPMs and churn out a lot of torque. But the race we're in has multiple classes of cars in it. Some, like Bitcoin, are the high-end prototype cars. Others, like Engine or Cosmos, are exotics. Stablecoins, they're more like a Mitsubishi Mirage. Stablecoins are boring to us degens, but vitally important to the entire crypto ecosystem. But don't be fooled. The tech behind stablecoins is no slouch, and the future of stablecoins will determine how much freedom the world will have in the coming years. The race to be the number one stablecoin is intense, and a new driver is coming onto the scene that right now is downshifting and attempting to pass the current leader, Tether, from the inside. Let's get it. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest crypto community in all the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in crypto. If you like money in crypto, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. In this video, we look at the super secret XRP stablecoin that is coming out very soon. XRP is a coin that we like on this channel only because it has tremendous upside. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of different things about this project from Ripple Labs. However, I own a lot of XRP because it works for my portfolio and I'm in the business of making money in crypto. Don't be mistaken. XRP is going to be taking a victory lap around the SEC in the very near future, setting it up to take the lead among other stablecoins. Well, Ben, who cares about stablecoins? Everyone should. Not only are they the most traded crypto by far, they're the on and off ramp to take profits. For the longest time, Tether or USDT has been the top dog of stablecoins, with others like USDC, TrueUSD, DAI, and others lagging so far behind, it's like their engines are running on corn syrup instead of gasoline, maybe even corn scissor. Because stablecoins are the means to put money in and take money out of crypto, they are getting a lot of attention from governments all over the world. Governments are trying to make their own version of stablecoins called central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. We don't like CBDCs. It's the worst form of financial centralization. They are the path to a cashless totalitarian society where every cent spent or earned is tracked and used by governments to repress freedoms. Stablecoins like Tether are based on blockchain tech and have public ledgers. Any transaction they do, whether it's on an Ethereum chain or the Binance chain, is all out in the open via block explorers like blockchain.com. Yes, Tether had its problems when it first launched, but it has since cleaned up its act and for that reason has become the industry standard stablecoin for not just buying crypto, but for shadow banking. And before you go off thinking that shadow banking is only for criminals, put yourself in neutral and remember that shadow banking is just a term that means you are handling your finances outside of a country's central bank. People across the world in oppressive dictatorships are shadow banked out of necessity and fear. Over 40% of the loans in China are shadow banked, and Tether is the number one crypto used for that purpose. So I know what you're wondering. Where does XRP fit in? I thought XRP was its own currency. Well, it is, or maybe it was. XRP first came out in 2018 as a normal digital currency like Litecoin or Digibyte. At least that's what they wanted you to think. XRP turned out to be very centralized according to many, and their founders held a lot of the initial coins that were owned by the founders and Ripple Labs themselves. And look, we've gone into XRP many times on this channel, and you can get all that information by clicking the link above. But the important development for XRP that you need to know about is this. A few months ago, a white paper was released in secret by Ripple Labs that outlined how XRPL, the more malleable form of XRP, can be made into a CBDC, stablecoin hybrid. Governments know that they are on their back foot when it comes to crypto. They are getting dangerously close to the alt economy, making them obsolete. Oh no, how terrible. Government drones are actually putting off taking bribes for a minute or two and instead reading white papers from Ripple Labs to figure out a way to get ahead. But why Ripple? Well, because Ripple has what Tether and other stablecoins don't. Money from OldFi and the blessings from one of the biggest players in the cryptoverse, the Digital Currency Group. The DCG knows that they have an uphill battle against Tether, DAI, and maybe even Doge, so instead of taking them head on like they are attempting with USDC, more on that in another video, they're using XRPL to be the stablecoin of choice for interbank transactions. In the white paper, they cozy up to the central banks by saying things like, time to define the future of money. The introduction of CBDCs will be one of the defining transformations in the history of money, and central banks will not be willing to relinquish control to a completely distributed model, as they need the ability to direct and influence their economies through currency management, also known as manipulation, or here when they talk about running qualified validators. This would give central banks the flexibility and functionality that comes with decentralized ledgers, while retaining enough centralized control over their monetary policies and economic management. The qualification, you see, is that you run the node that the banks can control at any time. This XRPL stablecoin hybrid doesn't even have a name yet, but it would be a key step for any central bank to make up some time on the decentralized supercars they're currently losing to. They would have a hybrid, not like a Porsche Taycan, but more like that hybrid truck soundstage torture chamber from Mad Max. So Immortal Joe, aka Jerome Powell, can run you down and put your whole family in jail for sending Dogecoin as a graduation gift to your niece when you should have used the government-approved currency instead. Because, as we were told this past week, every cryptocurrency transaction is criminal, and if they don't like it, they want the ability to reverse the transactions, or worse. That's the end game, full control. They want to change history, but will they? If it's a race of innovation between tech and finance, we already know who will win: tech. But if finance continues to lose, they'll start drafting us and try to play dirty, using regulation and government bullying to slow down DeFi. Just look at what they're doing to Binance right now. How many times a year do we get FUD about Tether? That's what's on my mind for the future of XRP and CBDCs. It's grim, but I know the cryptoverse can fight against it. Now, if you want to stay in the know on everything in crypto, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But in the short term, what does all this mean? Well, I think it's obvious now that the SEC case is going to hit the wall and spin out. Ripple Labs will have to take a pit stop, but then get right back out there. Jed McCaleb will finally be paid off and dump all the rest of his XRP. And the central banks will quickly look at developing XRPL, probably for a benign task like handling escrow transactions. The big movement would be the fact that XRP would get listed on the major exchanges again. This sudden release of downward pressure on XRP and influx of capital will surely see it rise to $2. And it's not a stretch to see XRP hit $10 or more over the next 12 months. That would mean huge gains for the long-term holders. This isn't go-kart racing. This is Le Mans. It's both high performance and endurance. You know the track layout now and who the newest team is. It's up to you to stay ahead of the pack. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.